lot earlier than normal. Let me do a mic check. Yeah, that sounds good. Um, Getting started a little earlier than normal. And we got a special guest coming through, y'all. Special guest coming through. We got the Code Switch podcast coming through. A couple of individuals that I met and saw that they were doing some fantastic things in the space, and just had to invite them up to come hang out with us, chat with us. And they got a podcast. They got a podcast. We got Trevor and Emmanuel. The Emmanuel goes by Hollywood, aka Hollywood. So if you check them out on their TikTok page, you can see the different things that they're doing in the space. But we're talking about code switching. What's code switching? What's up, Zero Day Security? What's up, Zencalo? What's up, Shakir? Welcome in, welcome in. You could be anywhere right now on a Saturday. Go get your popcorn. Go get your your snack, your Kit Kat bar, whatever it is, your preference of choice. I don't know why I said Kit Kat bar. Um, and check us out today. Feel free to request up. This will be one of those lives where we encourage you to ask questions. What's up, Dunn? We also encourage you to come up and ask those questions, engage, and also share some of your experiences. If you have ever noticed yourself code switch, I want to hear about it. If you've seen others code switch, I want to hear about it. You know, uh, what's code switching, Nate? You see folks that will change up the way that they talk, depending on the environment that they're in. They may even change up some of the words that they use. They may not use certain words that they would normally use in their regular environment. It's code switching. You code switch. You switch it up, and when you do that, it takes away from your identity. When you do that, it can be mentally exhausting. So we're going to talk about that. We got some professionals coming in, and it just so happens that these individuals who host the Code Switch podcast are also developers. So they're coders. It's kind of play on words. So they develop by day. What's up, Frank? What's up, Malcolm? What's up, Miss B? What's up, J Rock? Welcome in, y'all. We're talking about code switching today. We're talking about cybersecurity. We're talking about tech. We're talking about AI. We typically talk about all sorts of things, networking. We keep it really wide open. And if you check my page, you will see all the different things that we cover on a daily. And when I say daily, we go live every single day. Mm. Think about that. Think about that. A new topic every single day. What's up, digital creation? What's up, Kojax? Um, I hope I said that right. Code. Ah, I think it's Kojax. I hope I said that right. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to get it wrong. Uh, Welcome in, everyone. Have you ever experienced code switching? Have you ever code switched? I sound like a commercial. I know it feels like a commercial. Have you ever found yourself code switching? Have you ever been impacted by code switching? We want to talk about it. What's up, Samir? What's up, Samir? Welcome in, bro. I definitely want to hear from you as well. Being from the UK, how relevant is code switching in the workplace? Do you see folks having to code switch, Annie? Are folks having to change up some of their language that they would normally use outside of the workplace, the corporate space, and speak differently, speak more intelligently, speak more, uh, articulate their words much better, enunciate. The struggle with code switch. It can be mentally exhausting. It could take away from your identity. A pro is that it bridges some of the cultural gaps. You come off as you are of the space, of the culture, but you build some rapport. You improve the clarity, but but at the same time, you may lead to feeling inauthentic. and especially if it's overused. It could be mentally exhausting on your brain, your body, and we want to talk about it. We want to talk about it. Man, my first language is French. Oh, feel free to hang out with us if you can. Got to switch pronunciation all the time. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Coming from a different, you know, first language. That's exactly what we're talking about. Code switching and all the time. But then finally, when you get out of that space, you get to be yourself. It's like this automatic switch. You know when to turn it on. You know when to turn it off. Very interesting. What's up, Jerry? Jerry was in last night. He crushed it. Everyone, if you don't know about Jerry Bell, he is the man in the space right now. He has been doing things in this space and is well respected. I'm so glad and so appreciative and honored that we were able to host him and get some wise words from him, being that he's a veteran and seen so much and been around the block, been around the block. Today we're talking about code switching. We know that there are folks that hi, are we supposed to code switch? Love, that's the tricky situation. That's the tricky situation because we know that it bridges cultural gaps. We know that it improves clarity, but at the same time, it's mentally exhausting, and you may feel unauthentic or inauthentic. So we have two special guests coming up that talk about that host a podcast called the Code Switch Podcast. They're also developers, so kind of a play on words there. And when you check out their page, their page consists of them just having regular conversation as they would normally. And so they bring that to the normal world. But we know that there are other worlds where there's the corporate world where you have to put on a certain voice. You have to put on a certain uh, mask, so to speak, for lack of better words, or character, demeanor, and your words may change. Your posture may change. What's up, Felix? Uh, and you may find yourself using excluding certain words that you would normally use outside of the corporate space, and that's what we want to chat about and bring it to the discussion and see what folks thinks. A wise person said, "Communication doesn't happen at your mouth, but at your listeners' ears." Exactly, exactly. So if you are getting your message across, that is key. If you are uh, efficiently able to translate what's in your head over to someone's ears, you're winning. You're winning. Good call out, Jerry. What's up, Josh? What's up, Lathina? Welcome in. It's Saturday, y'all. This is not a normal time. However, I am flexible with the guests, and if there's a better time that works for them, I will make it happen. I will make it happen. And so I don't think that we're gonna meet later on today. Because of that, and not only because of that, it's we had another guest that was scheduled. They rescheduled to a different time, um, and we'll get that done at a later time. All good. Plus, that gives me a little break. uh, I don't want to overexhaust myself. I know one wise words Jerry said on the way out is take care of yourself, take care, and then I followed it up with take care of others around you as well. So, your mind, body health, taking your vitamins, talking with your therapist, and ensuring that your mind is right, sharp, walking, getting some fresh air, not staying cooped up, especially if you have a work from home job. It's easy to it's easy to find yourself isolated and not enjoying the fresh air, not enjoying the sunlight, which is very good for you. Those rays hitting yourself. Um, and sometimes I want to move to more technical side of IT to avoid interaction. Okay, yeah, I see you. So We know that there's a business acumen in this space, in tech, in cyber, in IT. There's a business acumen that you need to have. You need to understand what the business has going on, or you could just be completely technical, isolate yourself, boxed in to where you only talk to me when you need to talk to me, and guys just stay away. You can be like that. You could be like that. That is a thing. And Jerry says, "My guy, you are busting your tail helping people. No need to apologize." Nah, I am aiming to help. I am aiming to deliver high quality guests to everyone. I do see that the Code Switch podcast has stepped into the building, at least one part of the team, and we're gonna keep hanging around. I'm gonna keep yapping just a little bit longer before I yank them both up here. We got a two for y'all. This is a two part deal, two individuals that I saw doing some amazing things in the space. They have different seasons within their podcast, very sophisticated, very organized. They don't just sit and have conversations, but great conversations. But they also bring in guests onto their podcast, so it's going to be nice. It's going to be very nice. I see we got Monty in the building. What's up, Monty? Welcome in. Welcome in. I do want to take some time to make an acknowledgement here that within this platform is pretty critical. It's very critical that what words we use, the language we use. So I do have to make an apology. I did an audit of the words and the actions that I had over a week ago, and said some things that were just simply not true, and that was directed towards Monty and the different things that he has going on. So public apology, everyone, on that end. Watch what you say. I said some bad words related to scamming, and that there was absolutely no proof of that. And I actually had a one-on-one conversation with Monty, and we got it cleared up. So what he has going on, he did inform me that it's all legit, nothing illegal. So it's just something different than what others are aware of. So uh, please accept my apology. This is, uh, you know, in cyber, everything's about integrity, and in IT, it's all about trust. And so I just want to put that out there. You know. All right, we're gonna get this party started. I'm gonna start letting folks up. I'm gonna get Code Switch podcast up here. And then I think that we have one more. We have Emmanuel coming up. I'm keeping my eye out for him to pop in. Let me switch the scene up, everyone, and we'll get them. We'll get them in. We'll get them in here. We'll start chatting. And give me a one moment to switch the scene up. We are streaming live on YouTube, everyone. We are streaming live on YouTube. And let's see. All right, here comes the request, Trevor. Here comes the request. What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing? Mic check.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, what's up, man?
Nate, what's
How
good?
you doing, man?
What's going on?
Chilling, chilling,
I'm
chilling.
good. I'm good.
Good, good, good,
I'm
good.
good. I just spoke with Emmanuel Hollywood. He should be joining shortly.
Yep, yep. So yeah, I love that. When I first saw you all, I saw and man, I saw you kept calling them Hollywood. I kept saying Hollywood, 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 and
Yeah,
that's interesting. We
yeah.
do want to know kind of some background there and learn a little bit about that side of things. Just because, what's interesting is
100%.
I used to live in California, and I moved to Missouri. And
Yeah.
the moment I moved to Missouri, my football coach was calling me Hollywood. So I resonate.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I resonate with the name. So
That's super cool. That's super cool. You're not the first Hollywood that we have run into. So that's super cool to hear. So while we're waiting on them to hop in, I'll give a little context on how that happened. So, for the viewers out there, welcome. We are Code Switch Podcast. We connected with Nate. Nate's a great guy, and yeah, we're ready to really, really get into this. But uh, So Hollywood, my co-host for Code Switch podcast, is actually my mentor. And the first time that we met, it was at my first job out of college. I graduated with a degree in computer science, and they took me around the office. There he goes, Emmanuel Hollywood. They took me around the office. I'm dapping it up, meeting everybody. They bring me over to this guy, and he's like, "Yeah, hey, my name's Emmanuel. They call me Hollywood," and everybody kind of laughs. And so then he proceeds to tell a story of how he was an extra in the movie Heist with Robert De Niro.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah. So like that was a super like random excerpt of his, and that's kind of how he got that nickname. And every from then on, like not everyone really calls him that, but I do. So it's kind of just like that nickname of endearment.
I love it. I love it. Emmanuel, how you doing? Can you hear us? Mic check, mic check.
Yeah, mic check. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we're solid, bro. We're solid. Green
We
light
can, we
go.
All
can, we
right,
can.
cool.
Hey, we got it done,
Yeah,
y'all.
sorry for my tardiness. It's been a day already. You see, I'm wearing my soccer coach t-shirt. So
Yeah. No, I saw you earlier. I knew
Nice.
I saw the sun was out. It was bright. I was like, man, I wish I was around that kind of weather. It looks super nice. We got
yeah.
gloomy over here in Charlotte.
Oh man.
I,
Nate, where you at? Is it still fairly cold? Is it still
the temperature is okay. It's not, I took my daughter
okay?
to swim class and it's just okay. It's not like oh wow nice, but it's also not like oh sharp wind cold coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, here it's in the low 70s. So for everybody out there, I'm in the panhandle of Florida. And so winter is a little subjective here. So we'll get some days in the 30s, the 40s, very rarely the 20s. But it fluctuates a lot, and it doesn't take much for us to get back up into warmer weather.
Nice, 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 nice. And before you join Emmanuel, I was just telling Trevor how when I moved from Missouri, from California to Missouri, my football coach called me Hollywood. So I resonate with the name a lot. My classmates didn't do it, but only that coach. He would always say Hollywood, and I'm like, it didn't go beyond high school, but for a moment there, I did have that connection with you, man.
Gotcha. No, that's funny.
Yeah, let me reset the room, y'all, and we'll get this party started. What's up, Sikne? I see you over there. Welcome in, everyone. I see you, Danny, Lathina. Welcome in, welcome in. Typically, I usually pull in a guest. But today, I got two guests. It's a two for y'all. We got two. And these are the hosts of the Code Switch podcast. That is the topic for the day. We're going to be chatting about code switching in tech. What are some of the pros, the cons, different things that folks are experiencing, and we're going to keep this conversational. I'll freestyle on some questions. I didn't have too much prepared. We typically don't have an agenda. It's usually just a topic, and then we rip and run. But we have some very special individuals in here. I've been tracking them since I've been on this TikTok app and going live. Absolutely love what they are doing in the space, and y'all correct me anywhere I get wrong, anywhere I'm wrong here. But I know. Here's what I know. I know that you both have a developing background, so you both can code. So interesting that with the code switching name there, but then also too, these lives that you do are very conversational. It's almost as if you want to take away that code switching piece that people experience whenever they're in the workplace or in a corporate space, and you just bring in that reality, natural conversations, different things that you both want to talk about, different things that you chat about because you've known each other for quite a while, and you don't just know each
Yes.
other how most people know each other, know of each other. You go on different intramurals, sportings, and just super connected
Yes.
in, and true friends, some true friends right here. And I miss any
Oh yeah.
any part about that or anything y'all want to layer in?
No, that was actually very detailed. Appreciate that, Nate. Yeah, so going back into kind of like the background of our relationship, we've known each other over a decade now. Like I mentioned, Hollywood's a mentor of mine. Yes, we do both have development backgrounds. So a little bit about me. I came out of college. I didn't know anything about .NET C Sharp for the programmers out there. And when I got to my first job, eventually they moved me under Hollywood, and he kind of taught me everything I know about like .NET, kind of the foundations of like good development practices. And we just been solid ever since. To your point, Nate, like we've done even like intramurals in the past, played on each other's teams and stuff. And one day, Hollywood came to me with the idea of the podcast and was like, hey, we have a lot of these conversations amongst ourselves and with close friends, but what if we created a space to talk about these things openly and to let others come into that world and hear us discuss those things and have their input? And so that's kind of what birthed the Code Switch podcast. And even what you're doing, Nate, and us being able to come on here and have a dialogue, like that's what this is all about. Like we want to strip away, the professionalism. We want to strip away, all of the kind of the layers and all of the things that are going on, the hectic parts of work, and just be able to sit down and just have that conversation. So really appreciate you allowing us to be on your platform.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that. And echo everything that Trevor said, right? Like, we have these experiences where it's not a lot of us in the workplace, and you kind of, it's hard to identify whether like something you're going through is, um, what do you call, um, it's like, how are you, the things that you're experiencing, is it just me, or is it a shared experience amongst people who look like me and things like that? And with not a lot of us being in the work space, it's hard to go and say, hey man, if you experience this, or are you seeing this, and are you feeling this? And then we take these conversations outside of work, and we have these conversations, and me and Trevor have a lot of conversations, and we find out that, hey, no, these are some like passive aggressive statements being made, and microaggressions, and all those things, right? So no, echo everything Trevor said, right? Just creating this space, and appreciate you for letting us be on.
I love it. I love it. And for those that don't know, on this live stream, I welcome folks up. This is not just the Nate show. So I will be at some point seeing some folks request up, and so you can drop questions and information in the chat. But even if you're emerging or established in the space, you want to interface with Emmanuel, aka Hollywood, or Trevor. Feel free to come up, ask questions, or even share some of your experiences. Had you had to code switch in the real world, in the corporate space, and what was it like? Because I'll speak from my own experience. Um, I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't know I was doing it. I didn't know it was happening, but I was stepping into a lot of spaces where I was the only one that looked like me, but I also sounded like everyone. I adapted. I sounded just like everyone, and how the language, the demeanor, posture, the things switched. There was a switch, and it happened naturally. So I before I hopped on this live, I just did a quick Google. What is Google and Copilot and all them think of? Code switching, and some of the pros were, it bridges some of the cultural gaps, and it built the rapport. It allowed me to build rapport with my teammates. But some of the cons were that it's mentally exhausting, and it can lead to feeling inauthentic. So wanted to get some of your take on that. Is that something that you also resonate with? Am I on par there? Y'all feel free to jump
Hollywood, you
Yeah,
in.
want to
Who,
take that first?
whoever,
No,
whoever.
I can tackle it first. So, yeah, I would say the first time I actually realized that I was code switching, or I needed the code switch. Let me say this, because when I came out the gate, I came out young, fiery, and I'm gonna be who I am. I've always been that, had that very strong personality, and so when I got to like my first job, manager was actually a black woman, and I actually had a black coworker. And then I got into my second job. Trevor was there, and then a whole bunch of other people who were actually people of color, actually fairly diverse, down in Mobile. But then I left. I ended up going to Destin, Florida. If you know anything about Destin, Florida, we are not really there. And so, working in that space and things like that, I eventually became a manager. And I'll never forget the conversation that I had one time, for one of the first conversations I ever had, which was like, we got bought out as a company, and literally my directs were complaining because we were going from this like accrued PTO to uh, full unlimited PTO, so you can take off anytime you want. But the problem that they had with that was that you miss that accrued time. Like you don't get paid for the time you decide to leave and all this other stuff, right? Like you don't get that money when you do. And so we were all on the call, and they were like, I mean, they were literally complaining, y'all. And they're like, man, we want you to like push back and stuff like that. I'm like, what are we talking about push back? Like, what are we talking about here? Like, who am I? And so they said, well, I mean, like we got to do something, right? I said, well, I mean, if you're concerned about your accrued time and not getting paid for it, you should just quit and then try to come back, right? Hey, that's the only solution I had. And so it got quiet on the call, right? And that's when I knew I said the wrong thing. And one guy came back on. He's like, "Man, my manager tells me to quit. I go and effing quit." And now my initial response to that would have been, "Well, leave." Like, I mean, like I don't, feel free to leave. The door's right there. Like, we will figure it out. Companies don't, companies will figure it out. But I didn't respond that way. But that was one of probably the first moment where I realized, you know what, kind of need to switch it up a little bit. Can't really bring my full self to the table because I've created a whole bunch of problems, right? But to your point, right, you stay in that experience, you stay in that mode, you can almost become inauthentic to who you are and to the core of who you are. And I do think I see a lot of that in our field, especially when you come talk about gatekeeping and stuff like that. I think some of that is like symptoms of a lot of code switching that happens at work. You tend to believe that you are one of the in crowd, and you find out real quick you're not.
Yeah. So I love that. Going back to kind of Hollywood's explanation. So yes, my first job, Hollywood's second job, we worked together and we had people of color. And my second job, I moved to an area called Fort Walton Beach, Florida, which is about 30 minutes from Destin, Florida. So when Hollywood left, he actually found a role and he sent it to me. It wasn't at the same company, but it was in the same area. And he was like, "Hey, you should consider applying to this. It had better pay. I was entry level, had, not making a whole lot. So it was just a kind of a better opportunity for me. So I ended up applying, I interviewed and I got the role. But I ended up, going over there and it was a similar situation where there were really no people of color. And also it was DoD contracting. So I was kind of working with a lot of people that were close to the government in various ways. And I found myself a lot of the time, uh, to your point, Hollywood and Nate, kind of changing up who I am, really massaging my responses tailored to the environment and ensuring, like, okay, I want to make sure I don't say something that kind of goes off the rails here. But I'll never forget the moment when I feel like I kind of came out of that shell a little bit because someone made a comment about the Civil War. And they were like, "Oh, the Civil War should have never happened. People should have just waited until the abolitionists came, And I actually became very, very offended in that moment. And number one, in my mind, I'm like, why is this conversation even happening in the workplace? Like, why is this even being talked about? We should just be talking about the work and trying to solve these problems, right? But even beyond that, in that moment, to Hollywood's point, right? Like, I'm young, I'm fiery, like I just couldn't let that go. And so we ended up getting into like this heated debate, right? And in that moment, I really realized I was like, wow, this whole time prior to this, I had been code switching. Like I was legit like holding myself back and letting a lot of things kind of slide. And I think that just kind of pushed me over that tipping point. So yeah, that's kind of that was kind of my experience in really when I realized like, wow, like code switching is definitely a thing.
Yeah, it sounds exhausting. Just kind of listening to it and then experiencing it. It can be exhausting, especially. I think can we say the higher that you go in the space, can we say that the more responsibilities, the higher the role and sense of managerial and getting up to the C-suite, can we say that it becomes even more of a switch? What do y'all think about that?
That is a great question. I think it happens even before you get to the manager role. Um, I could, I haven't been like the highest role I've ever had is an engineering manager versus Hollywood, who's been a senior engineering manager. I don't know if it changes once you get to that level, but I know from my perspective, like I think just in general, like in our industry, I feel like we don't have a whole lot of black professionals just within software development. I don't work within cybersecurity specifically, Nate, but I would be curious to hear your perspective on if you feel there are a lot of people of color in your area. But I think simply because of that, like walking in the door, I think off the bat you're gonna face some of this. Um, I think maybe depending on the company you go to, I think some companies do it really, really well. I remember Hollywood speaking specifically about his time at Amazon and kind of how their hiring and interviewing practices were really, really good. So I think in some spaces, maybe you don't have to face that. But when you go to a space like I was in that was heavily tied to the government and conservative, slow to change, I think you're going to see a lot more of it regardless of your role. That's my perspective. Hollywood, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah. No, I like what you said, right? And I think you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned diversity, right? Because I think that kind of matters in association with moving up. I think you're always going to do some level of code switching to an extent. I think diversity has a lot to do with it, right? And the more diversity you have, I think the more of yourself you actually can bring to the table. You feel comfortable bringing to the table because people feel comfortable with differences being in the room, right? When you're in rooms where everybody thinks the same and looks the same, it's very hard for you to be like, well, I am who I am. Not that you don't want to do it, but it's an uncomfortable situation for you. And I think it's black people too, or people of color. We have to get comfortable with the fact of being uncomfortable, right? Like in probably every place that we go to, we're always going to be uncomfortable, regardless of the level and how high you go.
I like that, and just share some of my experiences when I'm walking into these spaces, and the proof is in the pudding, y'all. When I look at previous photos of me taking pictures with the team, I'm usually the only one that looks the way I look and the color, the person of color, which I'm biracial, so there's another identity there that is that is not represented. So that's an interesting take, and then also when I speak with the different stakeholders in the space, and yes, when you're talking to people who are equal-minded, your technical space, you know, on the same playing field. But when you're talking to senior leadership who may not have that same technical background, not only does that language change, but also you do become a little bit perky, a little bit more perky, and you try to be anyways. And so there is I think another level of switch that happens, especially in engaging senior leadership and executive leadership. So I would be curious to hear from some of the people who are in the audience over there. If you want to come off, if you want to request up, share some of your experiences. If you resonate with some of these things that we're saying, if you've seen some of these things, if you have a view on some of these things, we're open. And we're not, you don't have to be a certain race to come up. It doesn't matter. This is really wide open conversation. I'll look for the chat if I can, but you you ex- you expedite yourself to the front of the line if you request up. So I'll just continue asking questions, and we'll keep dialoguing until folks come chat with us. What's up? What's up, Hotcomb? What's up, Big Mike? What's up? No So Think, and several other people. Danny, several other people. Infinity. Seeknay, I see you over there. Welcome in. Welcome in. Before you both joined, digital creation brought up a good point. She has a she is a her first language is French, so oftentimes she has to
Nice.
switch that up based on the
Yeah.
probably the accent. Uh,
Yeah. So that's super interesting. I've never worked with anyone that speaks French. But what I will say is I've worked with coworkers out of India, and I do think sometimes they can get a bad rep based on some language or culture barriers. I've noticed that at my current job, where you know the people in India, they'll try to explain themselves, they'll try to talk through certain concepts, and I feel as if they almost have a chip on their shoulder because of some of the immediate responses that they get from people, and primarily people of a certain type of identity, um, that immediately like kind of call them out as if they don't understand what we're talking about. They don't understand the subject. They don't understand the project, and you know, I'm not trying to say that they're like these super high performers, all of them are top notch or anything like that. But I do think it creates a narrative where before they even get in the door, they're kind of already deemed as not going to be able to keep up, right? And so I can't speak on the French side of things, but definitely I have seen with people from India, like it's almost like coming out of the gate, they're at a loss.
I resonate with that a lot, and what we're talking about, everyone, is not an easy topic. This is one of those more complex topics that it's going to take some time to unravel. So, digital creation, we have you here. Did you have a question, comment, thoughts? Feel free to share.
Thanks for having me. I speak French. French is my first language, and I'm in IT management. And my concern is always, am I speaking English or am I speaking French right now? Yeah, I always question myself during the presentation or during the meeting. I will stop for 1 to 2 seconds to say, "Oh, was that French or English?"
Is it the looks?
uh,
What makes you say that? Do you see certain type of looks? What's going on?
it's usually the pronunciation. Some words are quite similar, and when I say that, I can say something and it sounds French in my head, and I'm like, "Oh, was that English or French?" I usually say that to the meeting. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, was that English or French?" But it's funny now. It's funny. I laugh at it now, but that's something that chip my confidence quite often because I know I have the skill. I can be in rooms, but cannot move from uh, cannot go to the top level in those rooms. I don't think so because of that accent with that or the struggle with the language. I'm not being pessimistic here, but it's what it is. So the code switch is strong. It can be exhausted at the end of the day. And discouraging. Sometimes I think about going to the more technical part of IT so I don't have to interact with people. And would that be giving up on me or not? I don't know. Something like that. But the struggle is definitely real. Very, very exhausting.
Yeah, Hollywood or Trevor, if you want to tackle that, mainly I think it's great because you both have this coding background, and what most people think about coders is that they're off into the dark rooms and that's all they do is code. Can you speak to some of that?
Yeah, I think kind of what we're touching on really is like the biases exist, and we all have them, right? It's just that the biases become much more prevalent with when the people who are in charge are have the most bias, right? And there's a certain group of people who are obviously like the leader, the majority of leaders inside of a company. And so when you mentioned that, you don't think that you feel like you're going to be able to move up. I can understand that perspective, right? I think there's only so many doors for us already, and you have any type of thing that's different that differentiates you from uh, the people who are the majority, or that makes them slightly uncomfortable, right? It just makes it that much more difficult
Mhm.
for those rooms, right? I mean, double whammy here, right? Female also, right? So like,
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about. That's what I
you
was
got
thinking about.
Yeah.
like if you were playing spades, you wouldn't have any spades, right? But yeah, I would say that it's unfortunate. And a lot of the things that people say is that, hey, how do we create our own doors? How do we create our own avenues? And my encouragement to everybody here on this call, anybody who's listening, is that the way that AI and where it is today, hey, we need to start taking advantage of that and see if we can create our own doors and create our own avenues and spaces for us to go into. But then going back to kind of what you pointed out and kind of, locking yourself in a room and being heads down, I've thought about that a lot of times. Like I probably every day, honestly, I contemplate, do I just want to go back to being an IC? I don't have to communicate with anybody. I come in, I do my work, and I go home. And that is the end of my day. I don't think there's a right answer. I think at the end of the day, your mental health is probably what's most important in anything. And so if your mental health is like in a good space, by going to that place where you can just go, go into a dark room, lock yourself in, and just do your work. Like I would advise that, to be perfectly honest with you. I think as again, as people of color, minorities, and things like that, I don't think we value our mental health enough. And we only got so much time to live, and do we want to spend it all, fighting these like psychological battles at work when there's a whole life to live and a whole people that look like us that we can pour into outside of work? Because work is just a part of who we are, not who we are.
I love that. I don't have anything to add.
Yeah, I like that too, man. That was deep, and it made me think about what the scales. If I'm weighing how much do I value my mental? How much do I value the over exhaustion of my mental by for instance, being in a space where I'm the only one that looks like me, and performing, right, and or maybe overperforming. And maybe that's another psychological thing that I'm doing, even with myself. Maybe I don't have to perform as high, but I'm choosing to. Is there any takes on anyone from that end?
Yeah, so I definitely, I don't know how everyone feels, but I definitely feel from my perspective, being kind of a person of color and kind of coming into the workplace. To your point, Nate, like I feel like I find myself trying to go above and beyond oftentimes,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I feel that oftentimes people that maybe have a certain level of privilege are much quicker to not go to that level, or if they go to that level, I find that they're often the ones that are kind of constantly being verbal and vocal about those things. And I feel like a lot of the times I'm kind of sitting there when people are being verbal and vocal, and I'm going like, okay, like you're going on and on about this. This really isn't that big of a deal. But I wonder if, like, does that have something to do with who I am and my identity, right? Like the cards that we've been dealt in life, and we know that, we don't have those same privileges and we have less opportunities. I wonder if it's been ingrained in us to kind of come in the door and just immediately just try to like shoot for the stars and like go so hard because of that. But yeah, it's just an observation. Going back to the piece about you brought up a good point, Hollywood, about digital creation also being a female. I did want to bring up like an experience that I faced at a particular job where I had a female coworker, and she was a woman of color. She was Hispanic, and she was like a principal engineer, and it was a little toxic watching how she interacted with some of the other senior engineers in that space, because anytime she had an opinion, anytime she felt strongly about something, like it kind of turned into like a tense conversation, versus when they would talk amongst themselves, and never turned into that. So I just wanted to bring that up because digital creation, like to Hollywood's point, like you definitely have a double whammy situation there. But kind of going back to Hollywood's point, it's ultimately about like our mental health, and we have to recognize that, because like what I just said, like I'm coming in and I'm doing all of this and I'm working so hard, but a job is only part of our identity, and we have to keep that in mind.
Definitely. Remember that in IT we have a lot of IT is a man-based job. So if you come in
Very.
as a supervisor, IT
Yes.
supervisor, you have to deal with all the engineers. It
Yes.
can be tough, especially when you have accent. We are a black woman. with accent is it can be a challenge every day. But I don't let that rule me because I'm very strong headed. How you say it? Very strong headed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I'm very strong in that sense. I know my skill. I know what I'm capable of. So I don't let that distract me. But I wish I didn't have to go through that struggle. I wish I didn't have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where, like, from my perspective, like, to Hollywood's point, having those spaces that we create ourselves is so key. But to Hollywood's point, like, we're gonna have to leverage some of these new tools like AI.
Mm-hmm.
I think AI is gonna be really, really big. Uh, how can we create things on this new landscape based on what's currently happening, right? Like, I'll never forget like Tyler Perry's speech. I can't remember what he said exactly, but it was something along the lines of like, "Oh, they wouldn't allow me to see at the table, so I created my own table." Right? How can
Mm-hmm.
we do that with AI? Right? Because AI, I think AI is going to be like it's already just shaking the foundation of our industry. So, how can we leverage that to your point, digital creation, to create our own spaces so that way you don't have to feel that way when you
Mm.
go into the workspace? But yeah.
Yeah. Me.
Yeah, that's another topic.
Yeah, yeah, we could go
I
on and on
haven't
about that.
been.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about AI agent, but is everybody doing that? What else can I do? Can we build something on the side of AI security? I'm looking into AI security because everything is online and we don't know what's AI, what is not. Can that be secure? Can we do something about it? How can you help people around that and create something for yourself? So I have been thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing I think people should think about too, right, when we talk about AI, is that we're actually living, believe it or not, we're living in this disruption.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about like all these industries where things come up and they disrupted the industry. Like Netflix came in and disrupted the video rental business. We're living in this disruption, and I think more just by financials and things like that, we're have a better chance now to be part of that disruption than to kind of watch the disruption happen and be like, oh man, I wish I was able to be a part of that or come up with something like that. And the last thing I'll just say is that around this is that I would encourage everybody to not try to think differently and how do I build something that someone else doesn't have, but think of how do I build better. Because I don't know if you all know this, like Blu-ray discs are like very common now, right? But there was actually two formats that were like competing against each other, right? It's like HD DVD and Blu-ray. They were in the same market, but one of them did it better, right? One of them made it more accessible. One of them made it cheaper. And like, how do we focus on those things and say, hey, the barrier to entry in all these industries have been lowered now because of AI. How do we get into those same industries but make it better?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll jump in there, y'all. I'm a big proponent of AI and getting ahead of the usage of it and learning of ways that it can improve not only your life but your abilities to do tasks and build and design and create and architect. So not just leveraging AI on a query basis of interacting with it, asking a question, getting answers, and using the web GUI, but also taking it to the next level and leveraging Claude Code and Gemini CLI within that environment and trying to tap into some of the agentic side of the space where you have A to A, agent to agent action. So where you really have these different AI agents working for you, doing tasks that would normally take X amount of time, but you're leveraging this AI. But so I encourage folks to dig into it, and it kind of leads into the next piece that I want to introduce. Before I introduce it, everyone, we're still welcoming folks up. What's up, Jay? Welcome in. If you have questions, drop them in the chat. I see you over there, Precious. If you want to come up and interface with us, ask questions. What's up, Hakeem? Or even share an experience. Now's the time. You got a burning question you just have to have answered. We only have less than 20 minutes, and we got Emmanuel and we got Trevor here for less than 20 minutes, y'all. So I wanted to talk about the dollars, y'all. You know, we've been talking about the corporate space and protecting ourselves and the mental and just quit and go home. But if you just quit and go home, we need dollars for rent. Tomorrow rent is due. So what do we do in that case? How do we balance it? And when we're talking about our dollars are at stake.
That's
It's
a
a
great
funny one.
question. Before we get into it, I'll just say, Nate, you made me think of that song, "First of the Month" by Bone Thugs and Harmony. So yeah, it's a great point, right? Like you can't just take your ball and go home, right? Clearly you have to you have to work, right? Like you have to try to find that stream of income. Um, yeah, that's a great question, and I don't think it's something that I'm not gonna sit here and say like just quit your job and just because you have to code switch in the office. I think to Hollywood's point, the first thing is mental health and finding something that fits that, right? So I think we all know here that within the tech industry, like you can make amazing money, right? But what comes with that, right? So, and Hollywood could probably speak to this better than I can, but I know that he worked at Amazon. It's no secret that Amazon is a main company. Amazon, you get paid really, really well. It's a diverse environment. So if that's important to you, maybe that's the right environment. But I would imagine working at Amazon is a lot different than working at some places I've worked at that it's not Mang, it doesn't have a cloud platform, so maybe the fast-paced environment isn't as fast. What comes with that is a lower pay. So maybe that's what someone is looking for. But definitely, this is definitely not a statement to say like, hey, just quit your job. But I think if there are things that we can do in the meantime to try to set us up for not having to be in those spaces down the road, then we should definitely investigate that, assuming that we have the time, the bandwidth, and it's something that we want to do.
Yeah, I would say I'm not a pessimist like in digital creation. I know you said the same thing, right? I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist, right? And I think that in the next 2 years, the industry is just going to look totally different than what it has looked like before. Before, I think being in the tech space was kind of like that. I don't say golden ticket, but it was a pretty good ticket, right? Like we pretty laid back for the most part, depending on where you're at. But the objectives were clear. We're building good software and all that, and security and all that good stuff. But now with AI is doing that work for us. And you know, um, the way people frame it, and the way leaders frame it, CEOs frame it, and stuff like that, is they frame it as, hey, it's a tool to be used, not a replacement. And that's true today. I'm not sure if that's true in a couple of years. And I know there are a lot of people out there that say, hey, AI can't take my job and things like that, right? I just wanna give you just a little tip, and that would be, hey, if you're right, you gain nothing by being right. But if you're wrong, you have a lot to lose. So what you should do is you should be cautious and you should be conscious that AI is coming. And you should be figuring out, how do I reinvent myself in a way to where I can have AI work for me and not do my work or replace me in this particular space. So when we talk about money, we talk about, hey, we can't quit now and all this other stuff. We may not even have a choice if we sit back and we be relaxed and just kind of like, hey, we just gonna figure it out and go with the flow. We may not have that privilege in a couple years just because of how things are moving. You look at a year ago where AI was, and you look at where it is today, and we know how fast technology evolves and things like that. So I think that it's funny because we talk about how we want to go into these corners and kind of go off and not talk to people and things like that. I actually think the relationship is going to matter much more now, because you know AI doesn't need culture. AI needs context, but people still need people. And so when we talk about like what does the future look like, it's going to involve people. AI can't replace people in the sense of, hey, I need this personal relationship for my what's it called, Maslow's hierarchy of needs and things like that. Like AI can't replace those things. The actual human aspect of it. It can't replace a human. It can replace a job. It can replace a title, but it can't replace a human. I think what's going to matter more in like the next couple of years is how do we keep our humanity, obviously, but how do we build those relationships and nurture those relationships? And what does the money look like when we talk about that? Like this space that we're creating now, right? Like it's gonna be these places are gonna matter so much more because I think the world is going to turn into like a I don't know what's one of those future tech movies where like people just kind of talking and through tech it's like there's not really much human interaction, right? Like the world's going to shift more and more towards there and just I think I might be describing the Matrix, by the way, but anyway, like humans are going to matter and relationships are going to matter, and that's kind of the point I want to get across. So just be conscious, be aware. If your mentality is that AI can't replace my job, I think that's a bad place to be in.
I like that. I like that. It made me think of
I love it.
Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures. Y'all seen that movie, Hidden
Mm,
Figures?
yes.
Those ladies,
Yes.
when those
Yes.
IBM computers came into the mixy mix, they went to go figure that thing out quick, and that's what I think that's the situation that we're in right now. Go figure it out. Go work with people who have it figured out or partially, so that way you can collaborate to build off of each other and build something together. Build projects. Showcase your projects on LinkedIn. Be proud of what you have going on. Be proud of what you're working on. Continue building and get ahead of the curve. So I think that was a fabulous message, Hollywood. Fabulous. And yeah, I can't add anything else to that. Good stuff.
I just want to add that your 9 to 5 can be your business partner too. So you can use the income you're making from your 9 to 5 to build something
Yes.
very important. Yeah,
Yes.
it's important that
Yes.
we learn how to invest. We learn how to use our money. We can't just be consumer. We have to learn how to invest what we're earning. Using our 9 to 5 as a business partner is another option.
No, you bring up a great point, digital creation. So I'll tell you guys something. So I would say most of what I've learned about just development, just being a good engineer, about my industry, honestly, has been outside of the job. Like that's just being real. When I took the job that I was telling everyone about earlier, with the DoD, like we were doing like desktop development, like .NET WinForms, like it was very old technologies. But in the background, I was picking up like .NET Core, ASP.NET Web API, React, and one reason why me and Hollywood kind of moved into close areas is because we were trying to work at the time. We were trying to work on like these projects together. Hey, let's get an app off the ground. You never know, it might take off, make a bunch of money, create that table, right? Um, so to your point, digital creation, like that's something that I feel very strongly about. Using your job really as a catalyst to do things in your own spare time. Whether that's taking something serious and trying to build something that you really think can be a disruptor in the market versus, all right, maybe this is a hobby, but now you have your job as leverage to maybe pay for some services that you need in order to
Yes.
develop different applications and platforms.
Yep.
I think that's fire. We're saying some great things. Everyone, we only have less than 15 minutes, so we got to move fast. If you got some questions that are burning, you got to get up here. You got to ask those questions. You got to share those experiences. I'll take it one more direction, and I'll see where we land. So I think we kind of landed so far at choosing where you work is something that having more control of not just saying yes off every first opportunity. I know that you need the work and maybe saying yes until you get that right role, but keeping focus on or keeping requirements around the roles that you hunt for. Yes, I want to be this specific, cybersecurity architect, SOC engineer, SOC analyst, but more than that, for what company? More than that, for what type of company? More than that, what type of values? What is their mission? Do they have a DEI program? Do they have people who are advocating for or certain diverse people to get brought in? And what does leadership look like? Take a look at that, and ha- do you require the leadership to look a certain way? And if you do, I think that you can probably increase your chances of having scenarios where you're happier at work, you are more comfortable at work, and you don't have to code switch maybe as much. Like, I don't know if it's going to be completely eliminated, but what do you all think about that?
Well, I'm not going to give black and white answer, just more perspective. But to your point, Nate, this is kind of coming out of left field, but it's just an experience of mine. I find that for me, working remote helps with this a lot for me personally.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, working remote for me helps with this a lot actually. And not everybody's experience is the same, so I don't want to say that my experience is right because it very well can be different. But I think when you're working remote in an environment that's not as diverse, you don't have to put up with the cooler talk, right? Like when I worked for the DoD, I was going into an office every day, right? And nobody looked like me. So clearly, like going back to the Civil War example where I got into the tense conversation, would that have happened if I was working remote and the only time that we're really sitting on a call, just really just talking at length is maybe like stand up or refinement or planning or retro, where at that point we're actually there for a purpose to talk about a specific thing, and 9 times out of 10 the people on that call probably just want to get the call over with and get off so they can continue their work. um, so for me, working remote helps with that. Of course, obviously, like if you're in a diverse environment, then it probably doesn't have that much of an impact. But to your point, Nate, about like which jobs to choose, kind of having those options, if you will. I know, like for me, um, I find that when I'm working remote, it just takes me out of having to be in the middle of in those uncomfortable spaces, and having to kind of address those things head on. But my experience can be very different from others.
Yeah,
Hollywood, go ahead.
yeah, I would say. So before I answer that question, Nate, I actually saw. I think I saw a question in the channel around.
Go ahead,
Cal said,
knock it
"Do you
out.
have any advice for a student doing CS? My uni is trying to add cyber major. So I would want to offer a little bit of feedback there if I can. So Cal, I think being a CS major right now is a very interesting time. It is definitely different now than when I'm sure when all of us were coming through it. And I'm pretty sure it's a little scary, right? Especially now with this whole AI talk and stuff like that. One of the things I
Facts.
would say is that uh, be informed. I think what separates a junior between a junior and a senior now these days is less about the capability to do it, but the deep understanding of why it works a certain way. And so, your university, I'm sure, is going to throw AI in there. Your first job likely is going to have AI. I don't know what year you are, but whenever you get into the industry, AI is probably going to be like the first tool that you start using. And what I would advise you is one of the best pieces of advice I've ever gotten in my career came from my mentor. Is about the five whys, and I don't know if anybody knows what the five whys are, but I'll just kind of go through a quick example. What he gave me, he was like, you know, the story of this little girl. Her mom was cooking a roast, and she cut off the ends of her roast, and the daughter was like, "Hey, why did you cut off the ends of her roast?" She was like, "I don't really know. Let me go ask my mom." So she asked her mom. Her mom was like, "Oh, I did it because my mom did it." And then back and forth, back and forth. Come to find out, to get to the great grandma, and the great grandma was like, "Well, I cut the ends of my roast off because it didn't fit in my pan. My pan wasn't big enough." And so throughout these generations, they've been wasting this roast because no one asked the questions why. And I think when we start talking about using AI and stuff like that, the knowledge gap is going to increase between the people who are interested in understanding the why and the people who are just interested in knowing that it works, right? And so I don't know if that fully answers your question, but what I really want you to do is, as you use these tools, understand the why behind the what you're learning in school. I think building secure software is going to be part of that, and understand security, because again, if you don't understand why, you may be using OAuth or JWT tokens and all the attack vectors, protecting your system against all that, attack services and all the other stuff, right? Like if you don't understand all that, well then AI holds the keys to your domain, right? And so my advice would be just kind of sum it up. Hey, learn what you learn, but dive deeper into it, get more depth, and also get more broad on it as well. And then Nate, to your question about like, I think it changes a little bit as where you are in your career. Like for me, I'm single by myself. But if I was a few years younger, I'm grinding, I'm chasing the money. And my advice to anybody who's like younger, if anybody came to me as a mentee, I was like, hey, if you're young, hey, go chase the money, right? Like if your mental fortitude can handle it, go chase the money, go make as much as you can until you're ready to reach that place where, hey, no, I need more work-life balance. And now let me shift to, hey, maybe it does matter where I work. Maybe it does matter what like their social responsibilities are for things like that. Maybe I don't want to work for a company that is polluting the air, something like that. All those things start to matter more, I think, depending on where you are in your career. Not saying it doesn't matter to younger people. Like I'm not saying that it can, but I think for me, it shifts as I've gotten older and my thinking and my understanding of the world has grown and things like that.
That's a great answer. To piggyback off that, Hollywood, we've spent many like late nights just working on different projects. We spent that one night like you basically like rewrote a bunch of stuff for Career Ladder. So we spent many late nights just working on things together. But to Hollywood's point, like things change, right? Like to Hollywood's point, like he was just at a soccer game, right? He has Hollywood's one or two goddaughters now.
Too, pretty much.
All right, so two goddaughters now, right? So now he's got kind of like daddy duties or goddaddy duties. Me, I'm married, no kids, but married. So like it just changes over time, right? And it's like hey, when my wife gets home, I can't just be on my laptop like from 5 p.m. to midnight. Like I have to take a break and like talk to her and see how her day went. Like it's not fair to her if I'm just on my laptop 24/7. So to Hollywood's point, I definitely think it changes.
Yeah, I think that what we're saying, everyone, is understand where you are in your journey, and always look to grow, always look to be better, and always keep your eyes open for the, the momentum of other technology, process, people that's happening around us. Think things are shifting, and I think that now is an incredible time to get armored up. And armored up is skilling up, knowledge base, and just awareness, and your team, who you're surrounding yourself by, what mentors do you have, what communities are you joining, where are you contributing, because it's not just take and give me. It's also contribute, because you put what you put out there. I'm a firm believer, it comes back. So putting that good energy out there. So I think we're gonna start wrapping up, everyone. If you can sneak in one more question, you might be able to get it off. But I'll be trying to respect Hollywood and Trevor's time. And it is Saturday. And to Trevor's point, we have families and friends and different things going on, that we're not just trying to. It'd be best. Sometimes you do need to lock yourself away. Sometimes you do need that private time. But a lot more of the times we do need to, focus on more self, more selfless, and less selfish. And that's difficult. I know. I battle with it myself, but I got wifey on my side. She's been completely leaning into our visions, and she's stepping into entrepreneurship. So it's crazy over
That's
here.
awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy over here right now. Crazy in a good way. Good crazy, everyone. So keep growing. So with that, with the last 3 minutes, why don't we do some last words? Unless someone sneaks in a quick question that we want to address, you can layer it in. Any last words, as far as like anything you haven't been able to say, anything that's been bubbling up that you maybe, even if it's just a one liner, anything coming up for you guys?
So a couple things. I think we had a lot of really good discussion here. One thing I do want to just leave everyone with is like, what is your passion, right? Like we're talking about tech, but I think even beyond that, like, what is your passion? I feel like whatever your passion is, I feel like that's probably what you're willing to go hard for. So I would say, if you know what your passion is, like lean into it 100%. If you don't know where your passion is, then take some time to try to do some reflection on that. Um, I know for me, this is just me personally. Tech has always been my passion. Coding has always been my passion. When I took my first coding class, it was C++ in college, and C++, like to me now, I'm like, yuck. But just being able to like solve those problems at 18 years old was just so fascinating to me, and like I was sold from then on. Learning .NET under Hollywood's mentorship and leadership like was just gold to me. And I mean, even though, yes, times change, and absolutely I spend time with my wife. I'm not on my computer as much as I used to be. I still find time outside of my job just to like play with AI, play with different tools, code, like just because like it's just my passion. And I truly do feel when, you have a passion or a purpose that God has blessed you with, um, you're gonna lean into it. Like it's just hard to pull it away from you. It's just like my mom. My mom, she loved kids. So like she was a principal, and even when she retired, like she was still working with kids. So that's just what I want to leave everyone with. Like whatever your passion is, like just lean into it. And the next thing I just want to say is, Nate, forever grateful for just allowing us to be on your platform. For all of the listeners, we are planning to have Nate on our podcast as well next month. So like y'all get ready, cause we're gonna do an episode. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be fun. So please follow us. If you're not following Nate already, follow Nate. Cause we got even more content dropping.
Yeah. Hey, what they say in Baptist churches, preach, preach it. I I don't really have anything to add. I just want to add a little more depth to kind of what you said about the whole passion thing. I think that's an excellent point. I think when you find your passion, you find your price that you're willing to pay for it. And one of my managerial styles, and I tell people this all the time, is that I don't like to assign work. I'm not a big person to assign work. I like people to choose their work and choose what they do, because people tend to have if you have a vested interest in what you want to work on, you're just naturally going to do it at a higher level. Even if as a high performer, something that you just love to do, you're going to do it at a higher level. So kind of to Trevor's point, find your passion, because you're gonna take it to the next level. And I think that's more and more important as we get into this digital age, this age of information. We're in a transformation age. We are in a disruptive age, and we all have to tighten up a little bit more, and put our heads down and figure it out.
Yeah, I like
Facts.
that passion piece ending there. That's a fabulous, fabulous end there. And I also want to thank you both for doing what you do. Everyone, take some time to go follow Code Switch podcast. They're doing amazing things. Go check them out in the other platforms as well. I saw you all do an in-person event where they were asking you a bunch of questions and you had
Yes.
moderators. It's fantastic experience, it looked like, and a lot of exposure into the inner workings of what you all are doing, some of the behind the scenes. So I encourage everyone to go check you both out, and keep it up. Keep doing what you all are doing. I'm super thankful and honored to have the opportunity to come over there and chat with you both, and I'm super thankful you both came over here and chatted with me. I mean, it was something authentic, and it wasn't something I wanted you guys, and then you hit me with we want you. So I was like, oh man, that's great. Like, that was not my intentions, but it fantastic the way everything it genuinely authentically worked out in an authentic way. So thank you both for coming through. We appreciate it, and I think yeah, passion. Everyone, go figure out your passion right now, today. Before the end of the day, I need you to go know what your passions are. Go have that intense conversation with yourself, and then once you have it today, go rehab it tomorrow, and ensure that there's true alignment between today and tomorrow. You will feel it. It's something that you feel when you know that and you start looking for signs. The signs will be revealed. So long as you're going down that right path. So thank you both. I wish you a great rest of your afternoons and evenings, and I can't thank you enough.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming through, y'all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yup,
Appreciate
yup.
y'all.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank